Hey, how's it going? My name is Faith and I'm part of Youth with a Mission Perth. I'm also part of the Young People's Discipleship Training School that we run here. Our team consisted of 15 people from various nations. As a team, we traveled to Myanmar, India, and then we finished off in Malaysia. These young people were amazing as they just heard from God and then they went out and obeyed what He spoke to them. Here's a glimpse of what we did in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia.
I really wanted to pray for them though. But let's pray for them right now. Maybe. Yeah. God, we just lift up these two.
Why do they pray for someone else? What are they doing in the middle of the mall? Let's listen to the story from Wes about this part of the missions trip.
Malaysia. We're here right now, Malaysia. Yeah, like before going on evangelism, sometimes you just you don't feel like you want to do it, or you're just tired, or you're scared about what people will think of you. And I'm just learning that no matter what God speaks, or no matter what we're doing in ministry, God will use us if we have an obedient heart and listen to Him. Sometimes God speaks random words to us that don't make any sense, or He gives us random direction in evangelism that doesn't make sense, but we have to trust that it's God speaking and that He will use that, right? And you just have to push through that, I find. Just push through your own desires and just let God work in you.
Sharing who Jesus is with people is part of growth and stepping out in faith. Here we are at one of the shopping malls.
My friend George, he had an idea of going around and interviewing people and asking them questions about religion and what they believe and what they thought of Christianity and stuff. And at first I was like, oh man, that's pretty intimidating. Just putting a camera in front of their face, I don't know if that's a good idea.
Give us words, give us places, images, God, anything. So we are doing evangelism. We are on pursuit to someone wearing a pink top.
Oh, we just came down here.
Green pants and green runners. So we felt like God spoke maybe McDonald's. We're gonna go check it out. We don't even know there's McDonald's in the mall, but we're expecting that God's gonna move in crazy ways during this 2 hours of evangelism. So stay tuned. Thanks for following us.
Pink top, green pants, green runners. Let's check out how God is leading them. So they walk, 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 and walk. But sometimes God teaches us to rely, trust, persevere, and be patient as we pray for that one person.
I struggled with it because oh man, I actually had a little bit of fear in me because it's a Muslim country in Malaysia, so I've heard of stories of people going to jail and stuff for their faith and trying to convert people, and yeah, I just really felt that come upon me. But then I realized that I need to lay down my right to all those things, right to have freedom, and just let God use me, right? And just that whole thing of lordship. But yeah, so I was expecting that God was going to do crazy things. It was really, really good.
All they needed was to trust what God has spoken to them and allow God to lead them.
God told us to wait, and also that the person we're going to talk to is grieving the loss of a loved one.
Heavy stuff.
Yeah, seriously. See, it's just, you just gotta break through the ice, you know?
Keep going through the ice.
Okay, here we go, guys. Let's go.
There you go. All right, George, here you go.
Butterflies.
It's the worst when they're purchasing a phone or something. Okay. We're gonna talk this way. Hi there. What's your name? Yeah. My name's Wes. What's your name?
Kelly.
Kelly, what's your name? Happiness? Oh, nice to meet you. I'm from Canada, actually. This is George. He's from London. And yeah, we're just here with an organization called YWAM, and we're interviewing people actually right now. Would it be okay if we asked you guys a couple questions? Is that okay, yeah?
And I found it was a really good way to just like get right to the subject of religion and just talk to people about what they believe.
We're just wondering what your idea of what is religion for you.
Religion?
Yeah?
Religion,
what
yeah.
is your view on religion?
Religion about what?
Like, what is your religion? Do you have a religion, or like are you Muslim or
Islam.
Islam. Oh, okay, cool.
You have to strict. You have to follow the rules and discipline.
Oh,
To
okay.
be disciplined.
Yeah.
And not too social to other people.
Right. Okay.
And then once we heard about what they believed, I was able to preach the gospel to them and speak truth into their lives. And yeah, it actually was a great tool in evangelism.
Interesting. Yeah. We're actually Christians. Do you know Christian? Like, we believe in Jesus. Do you know Jesus? Have you heard of
Yeah,
Jesus?
yeah.
Yeah. Is it okay if I tell you about Jesus?
Yes, it's okay.
That's okay? Okay. So, yeah, we believe that in the beginning God created the world, and He said it was good, and then He created me and you, and He created George and everyone, and He loves us so much, and He created us. He loves you, He'll protect you. He'll protect you, because He wants to have a relationship with you. And after we die, we go to heaven, and we get to be with God for eternity. So it's a huge decision to give your life to Jesus. Yeah. But yeah.
And yeah, the first people that we talked to, I felt like God gave me a word for the girl. And I felt like God was saying that she's mourning the loss of a loved one still. And yeah, I didn't really want to deliver that message, because like, what if I was totally wrong? That could be maybe offensive or something, but I really heard that clear in my head. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to go for it. I trust you, God. I trust you, God. Just the whole thing of trust.
I also have a question. Are any of you guys...
Before we check out what the outcome was, let's see who else they met during evangelism.
But we had about 4 or 5 interviews, and yeah, it was just a really good way of talking to people about Jesus.
I'm just wondering, what is your opinion on religion? Or what do you believe?
She was asking me questions about God and stuff, and I just saw that she had a longing. Like, I saw inside of her, like, she knew that Jesus was real. Like, she was explaining to me how she saw Jesus heal people through people, and she saw like people walking for the first time. So she saw the authenticity of Christ. Like, she saw that Jesus is real and alive. And I just tried to get her thinking about that, but she seemed still set in her ways of Hinduism. And I think she was just blinded by that, because she grew up with Hinduism her whole life, so she thinks that is what she is. But I don't think she understands the fact that she can accept Jesus whenever, right? And she can give her life to Jesus. She doesn't have to stay in Hinduism. She can come to Jesus at any time. So I was just trying to open up her eyes to see that. But yeah, I really saw that she was longing for something more, even though her boyfriend seemed a little bit more closed off. But. I was kind of sad, because like, I wanted to talk to him more about it, and he seems really set in his ways. But I think it's just trusting that he heard it and he was reminded about it. And like, as you saw in the video today, I tried to get him asking questions. I asked him questions about Christianity. I asked him questions about Jesus, just to try to get him thinking about what Jesus has done for him, and to get him thinking about like all the amazing things that God is, right? But so I think that's because he was reminded of that, like, it's in his head now, and he's thinking about Jesus. Maybe he's going to have a conversation again with someone. But just giving that over to God, and just like, you walked in obedience, and just trusting that God's going to continue to work in his life, right? Like, it's a really cool image, I think, goes with this, is like the Battle of Jericho. Like, they walked around the wall 7 times, right? But it wasn't until the 7th time where it collapsed. So maybe this man, maybe it's number 5, maybe it's number 1, right? But trusting that number 7 will come, and that Jesus will break through in his life. And I think it's going to happen for sure.
They were walking almost an hour before they met a person to interview. Wes received a word from God that he would meet someone who was mourning the loss of a loved one. This is what the couple shared.
An organization called YWAM, and we're interviewing people actually right now. Would it be okay if we asked you guys a couple questions? Is that okay, yeah?
I didn't really want to deliver that message because like what if I was totally wrong? That could be maybe offensive or something.
I just have a question. Are any of you guys grieving the loss of a loved one right now? Like, did someone recently pass away in your family? Yeah? For you? Who passed away?
My grandma.
Your grandmother? Was it recently?
Last year.
Last year, wow.
And then I did it, and she said, yeah, she's mourning the loss of her grandmother that passed away, and she's still really, really sad about it. And
see, as we were praying, me and George, we were praying, we were asking God, like, who do you want us to talk to? He said to me that someone recently lost a loved one. And I feel like God's saying that He wants to take away that pain, and He wants to comfort you, and He is your shelter, and He loves you so much, and He really wants to be there for you, to support you during this hard time.
I was just able to speak truth into her life and just say that God loves you, He comforts you, He wants to be there for you, and He wants to have that relationship with you and just be there for you and guide you. And I think she was really touched by it, because how else would I have known about her grandmother that passed away if it weren't for God, right? That wasn't me. I didn't stalk her on Facebook, it's just God. So I think she was really moved and touched by that. It was really good.
Wait, sorry, do you guys have any questions at all? No questions? No? Okay. God bless. Bye-bye. That was interesting.
Because they trusted and allowed God to lead them to the correct person, these guys managed to pray for the lady that had lost her loved one. Wes and George had another experience from their evangelism time. They were so passionate about sharing His word because they knew His word is the truth, the way, and the life. They simply wanted to share what they had experienced with God. These young people kept sharing His living word with the world. This is how they shared it: pray, ask God, and share.
Really wants me to go into like more mentorship.
The birth attendance school.
Have cafe, but use it as a ministry tool.
I'm joining Anna Breeze.
Working with youth and teenagers.
Doing a second level school at YWAM Perth.
Internship with IHOP.
Studying cognitive science.
Studying dental hygiene.
Have something to do with a cafe or a bakery.
Worship for the nations.
Study international business.
Called to Egypt and all that.
Called to Myanmar for sure.
Well, I mean, the last commandment that Jesus gave His disciples like me and you, people who follow Jesus, was go out into the nations and make disciples of me. And then, yeah, that was just really just spoke to me. Just like that was the last thing that Jesus said. One of the last things He said, one of the last commandments He gave. So I realized how important that must be that He said that, because that's one of the last things He said. So for missions for me is like wherever God calls me, wherever I feel like He's sending me, wherever I am in life, at any point, I just want to be serving Jesus, and I want to be telling people about Jesus, because there's people out there that don't know Him. There's people out there that are going to be living eternity in hell, and that breaks my heart. So I just want to, just be obedient to God and listen to that last commandment that Jesus said, and just go out, go. And maybe that means I'm called back home, or maybe that means I'm called to Southeast Asia, but wherever I am in my life, I want to be serving Jesus and just telling people about Jesus, because that's what Jesus has called me to do.
Have you ever wondered, does God speak today or only on specific days? And can I hear God's voice and experience His presence? The answer is yes, anyone can hear God's voice.